Compared to Biblical Greek, the English language can be confusing and imprecise. One of the prime examples of this is in the usage of the English term fool or foolish in the New Testament. In Matthew chapter 5 verse 22, Jesus states that calling someone a fool is grounds for judgment. Yet both he and Paul occasionally called people fools. Does that mean Jesus and Paul are liable for judgment? It would seem that way to those who do not know the original words. In the New Testament, the words fool and foolish are used in the following ways. Aphron, which means senseless, without thought or reason, rash. Luke 11:40. You fools. Here Jesus is speaking to the Pharisees. Romans 2:20. An instructor of the foolish. Here Paul is referring to the students of Jewish scholars. 1 Corinthians 15:36. You foolish person. Here Paul is speaking in a hypothetical argument. 2 Corinthians 12:11. I have been a fool. Here Paul is ironically speaking of himself. 1 Peter 2:15. Put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Here Peter is referring to hypothetical unbelievers. Anoitos, which means not understanding, uninformed, unwise. Luke 24:25. O foolish ones. Here an angel is speaking to the disciples at the empty tomb. Romans 1:14. I am under obligation to the wise and to the foolish. Here Paul is speaking of those he tries to reach with their gospel. Galatians 3:1. O foolish Galatians. Here Paul is speaking to the people in the church at Galatia. Galatians 3:3. Are you so foolish? Here Paul is speaking to the people in the church at Galatia. Titus 3:3. For we ourselves were once foolish. Here Paul is describing himself and his co-workers before they were saved. Raka, which means empty, senseless, empty-headed, a term of reproach.
But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raka, is answerable to the court, and anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell.
When Jesus or Paul called a person foolish, they meant to say that the person was acting rashly, without thinking, unwisely, or without all the information. That is not the usage Jesus meant in Matthew chapter 5. The Greek raka meant something a little different. It expressed a judgment call on someone's character. The honor of one's name was very important in Bible times, and is still important in the Middle East today. To say the nature of a man was empty-headed was a grave insult. In addition, raka at the time was a term of great reproach. Both the definition and the cultural meaning of the word, as a slang, was designed for vulgar insult. We must also consider the way Matthew 5:22 is formatted. In Hebrew poetry, it is ideas that are repeated, not sounds. The verse is a triplet, expressing the same thought in 3 different ways. It implies that anger and insults are both part of the situation. To angrily, insultingly swear at a brother is, indeed, grounds for judgment. Although Jesus and Paul both got frustrated with, and even angry with, their audience, they never insultingly condemned the nature of a person. We are all made in God's image. To warn someone that he is acting unwisely and thoughtlessly is a gracious act. To call someone raka is to refute God's nature in them.